now at a COVID-19 success story. Taiwan is just off the coast of mainland China. Millions travel between Taiwan and the Chinese mainland. Johns Hopkins University had predicted that Taiwan would have the second most COVID-19 cases in the world.
Handling of COVID-19 has made the front cover of the weekly Chosun, a leading South Korean magazine.
The cover of the latest issue features an image of President Tsai Ing-wen and the headline, "Block China, Learn from Taiwan."
The story inside praises the swift and decisive steps Taiwan took to contain the coronavirus after China's outbreak.
Is now betting this one, the high fly ball to the left, and this is gone!
This is not a rerun. It's a baseball game that was broadcast live Thursday night.
Like they say,
Professional baseball in the time of coronavirus. Played with a Taiwanese twist. While almost all other sports around the world have been canceled, Taiwan's baseball season has just begun.
Arrived in Taipei and it's relatively empty. There's really no one here. Surprising. That was quick. From landing to exit, about 20 minutes. There were only like 6 people on the plane, and the next stop is the MRT, or the metro, and I'm going to take the metro into the city, and I'll catch up with you in a minute. So we made it. Here we are on the metro, or the MRT, leaving the airport, going to Taipei, or city center. Have the mask in hand, and as you can see, there's really no one on the train. It's empty, just like the airplane is. It's such an eerie time right now to be traveling. And we're at the Taipei main station. That was an easy ride from the airport, just over 30 minutes. And there is a peace of mind with all the precaution that you see going on, like the people cleaning. And I'm curious to know more about the measures that are being taken in Taipei. So tomorrow we're going to go to National Taiwan University and speak with a member of their medical staff and get more details. First morning in Taipei. Good morning, everyone. And today we're going to go to National Taiwan University. As you can see, here in Taipei, life is operating pretty much as normal. So we want to get some answers about COVID. And to do so, we're going to meet with Professor Chen. He heads up their School of Public Health, and he's going to share the strategies that Taipei and Taiwan has implemented to keep life going here pretty much as normal.
Yeah, great. Yeah.
So a lot of questions about COVID,
yeah.
and it's an honor to be speaking with you today.
Thank you. Yeah.
Let's talk about the numbers really quick. Taiwan has a population of 24 million.
Yeah.
Tell us about the numbers, the amount of cases, the amount of deaths.
Yeah. The number of days about 6 until so far is very low, because we have a SARS experience. So we have a very well prepared about ICU and very well prepared of isolation ward. We have a negative pressure ward to protect our healthcare workers to get infected. So that's why we have a very few nosocomial infection in hospitals. Personal protection is the basic fundamental thing to do. The second is social distancing. If you go to public, because you still need to live, you still need to have a life. So the social distance is another key factors for our success in controlling this COVID-19. Social distance. So if you go to today, you can go to the metropolitan city like Taipei and Kaohsiung. You can see they have a coffee. If they have a coffee shop, they will social distance. They will sit, have one empathy seat between the two peoples, because, the government already regulate. You have to the social distance. You have to have 1 meters apart. For the outdoor, for the indoor, you have 1.5 meter apart. And if you cannot do that, you have to put on a mask. So this is all the planning for containing the COVID-19 in addition to the imported isolation policy. I think the American people right now they think about, they have reflections whether we can return to the life with personal protection plus the social distancing, which is equivalent to lockdown. Because you can see, although you cannot stop the epidemic immediately, but you will make the curve become small and small to die out. So eventually you see the epidemic curve die out. But if you lock down, immediately shut down this case, but never forget, maybe they have another, the second large-scale epidemic rebound. This is always, we have seen the lockdown. If you have a small break, don't think about lockdown procedures. Think about how to use the personal plus the social distancing to stop the spread of COVID-19 to the community-based outbreak. This is the Taiwan models, and I think this work very well. I don't like the lockdown policy. If you think about this, so that's why Taiwan can have such kind of a success. So when you have a deep thought, have a reflection, you see this is not only talking about the containment COVID-19 from the medical, from the health viewpoint, but we are talking about the holistic viewpoint about how to live with this virus and how to adapt your life to not to be affected by this virus. Don't be afraid of being infected, but its important thing is how to adapt your life after you have such kind of the infected, situations. This is so important. So the Taiwan model will provide experience. The two things is, can you change your concept about personal protections? The second thing is, do you think the whole lockdown is suitable? Because people always think if we have COVID-19, infected, the best way is a lockdown of the city or lockdown of a place. I don't think this is a very good model. You see, Taiwan never, even have a small outbreak, we never lock down the hospitals. Why? Because we know if we lock down the hospitals, they have so many consequences. Taking the social distancing measures with physical practice, or you lock down your place. So two things, personal protection plus the social distancing is equivalent to lockdown, but lockdown, you sacrifice the people, and also lockdown, sometimes some people already, infected, and then they will become infecting other peoples in the isolated society. So you sacrifice so many peoples, not only for these people already infected. So this thinking process is so important, although people sometimes cannot very clear about that, but I just want to provide, this is why Taiwan has a new law models. Yeah.
And like you're saying, there is a price to lockdown.
Yeah.
Emotional.
Yeah. Also.
Business.
Also. Yeah, also. This is also
mental health.
Mental health. So many, mental health, and also, you lose the freedom, and the people very scared, and also people are keeping asking how long are we isolated. When China show the complete lockdown models, people sometimes misunderstand, like WHO, in the early of the March, they show this is a good models. So that's why sometimes you give a wrong guidance on the wrong, the impression for people in the Western countries. Okay, but first things you have to let me talk about one thing is I just remind but you have to have imported isolation first. This is important, and the timing is very important. Timing is very, very important. If you have an imported isolation too late, then the imported case will infected to the case, in your mother countries, Just about the February, mid-February, our Ministry of Education decide to, delay the opening the school schedules for about 2 weeks. So this is called the mitigation plan. And this is so important as well because they will stop some of the imported case, from our Taiwanese peoples, back from the high epidemical countries. Then they will be isolated, The people like in the Western countries, I think, maybe Taiwan model maybe can be a good reference because we live in a normal life. Although we have personal protection, we have a social distance. Although this is called a new law model for adapting the COVID-19, but it's not bad, because life still keep going. So that's why you are absolutely right. The social media instead start to to contrast this model with the old tradition model about the totally have a strict control of COVID-19 with so strict isolation and quarantine. This virus is so social media virus. It's not like a biological virus. It just travel around all the country. So how can you think about to lock down this virus? Never. And not mention about this virus is so unique. You know why? Because they affect the leadership. I have seen the infection. I work with the infection disease control for about 30 years. I never seen a virus like this to affect the leadership in the countries. So this is a political virus as well.
Social media virus.
Yeah, and also political virus. So you can say this is a political, social, the media virus. This is something like we're talking about. This is not like the biological disease process. Not like we're talking about microorganism. We are talking about this is a social virus. It is so powerful of the virus. They penetrate your society every field in different pathway, in different route. So I can only see. So that's why you can lock down for people, but you cannot lock down for the people too long.
So dissecting a little bit what you have said, Professor Chen. In fact, Europe and the US, they went into lockdown mode maybe because they were using China as the example.
That's right. Yeah.
They saw them do it.
Yeah.
That doesn't make it right.
Yeah. No, that does not make right. But whenever you have a lockdown, period, you have to think about what is the next stage of the models you want to to play and to make people to have a normal life. So that's why you ask me about why they have a shift from, I can say from China to Taiwan model is because of the Taiwan models, provide, new normal models instead of close yourself to one, area or one place or close to home. So that's why, let me talk a little about the New York cities. In New York City, I heard, if I'm right, for some area they put about 1.9 kilometers. It's not sufficient. If you look at the infection rate and also the epidemiology, which we call the reproductive numbers, you should have about 5 to 10 kilometers, parameters to isolate people, and to quarantine the peoples. So generally speaking, we have two main policies for imported, the case. We have imported isolation policies and together with the quarantines. And the second, is a mitigation plan, for reducing the chance of transmission of COVID-19, including public gathering and also the social distancing. And of course, I already explained to you, we also have very civilized for peoples, the civilized people to understand how important it is to put on a mask, if necessary, during the public transportation or during the public gathering, in order to avoid the close contact and also washing hands. Yeah. If you think, put on mask, which is useless, it's completely wrong. People in Taiwan protected from the mask, and they can reduce this transmission from, the small outbreak resulting from the public gathering to the large scale community base. Remind you, I think why they have a symptoms like this, because again, as I said before, at the beginning, people think about the lockdown policies, and they have been traveling in, all the lockdown, but they never think about the economical the rebound pressure is so important. I mean, you can think about how long you can isolate people for 1 month. How long? I know that before, so that's why whenever you think about the lockdown policies, which has been initiated by mainland China, and that's why at the beginning we have a false impression like that. But things change, very quickly. It's because we need to socio-economical activities. In the USA, I like NBA. I like to see the NBA. I like to see, the football. But where they are now, people need that because this is life. Yeah.
How soon would you remove the lockdown in the U.S.?
For me, I would like to see at least don't later than the end of May. You should uplift this lockdown, as I suggest. It's not very useful, And particular the one sense, if you have a rapid test, you can open. Why? Because if you're a rapid test, because the USA already have experience for large scale outbreak, so that means many people already been infected with the antibody, so to already have a immune. So for these people, you have to let them to go back to work as soon as possible. The USA time schedule is so important to us. If the USA open the borders, then we probably open the border immediately. So that's why the USA and also European borders is so important for us. And because if they cannot open the border, means they still have a epidemic layer. So if you have an imported case from that area, they will cause the community outbreak later. And that's why I'm saying earlier. People keep asking me, when can we return a new normal life? But don't forget, because Taiwan take the models for containing the COVID-19, but we don't sacrifice our business, our the usual life. This is important. So how do we balance between the containment measurement and also the business and also the daily life? So Taiwan developed a new law about the life and also business with this COVID-19 virus. This is our, the models. And Singapore in Hong Kong is different. They have a community-based outbreak until so far. So that's different, that's totally different. As I explained to you, Taiwan had a SARS outbreak before. So that's why we developed into a new law, the models. The air travel is another sense. So that's why I need to emphasize rapid test is so important. You have to have a test before on board.
What happens to cruise ships?
So again, you have the certification demonstrating, you have an antibody or you don't have any antigen, then you can on board. Otherwise, the cruise ship will not be protected. So every cruise ship should be also tested as well. If you cannot demonstrate your health status about COVID-19, you cannot get on board to serve, your client. So that's become a standard about international quality service. How to provide the certification for demonstration, your COVID-19 infection status. So this has become the 3 months, data. So that's why I call the post surveillance, COVID-19, during these 3 months. If I use the social language, I will say this is called the new order of COVID-19. This is a social language, new order of COVID-19 control. But I would like to use the post surveillance, the COVID-19 for 3 months, something like that. That would be I suggest. But because people already experience SARS, they are a little bit scared, and I think because of this experience, they follow the government. They trust the government. They have a faith in government in putting on a mask. So that's why in the early February, they are long queue to, get the mask from the drugstore, because government is very clever to ask the drugstore to play the role in providing the mask. So they have a long queue, and why? Because they want to have sufficient, mask supplies, when they need it, So this is I call this is a civilization of the infection control, the civilization for containing, the COVID-19. You have to have a faith in people. This is so important, Why? Because we believe we can adapt our life to live with this virus, So don't be afraid of being infected. Once infected, go to the hospital or go home according to the very good, advice. Then recover as soon as possible. If the country has the ability to help the people, in the world, please, help them, Then I think, we can have a faith in ending this pandemic of COVID-19. This is what I want to share with our audience. Yeah. Thank you. Please.
Thanks. So, Professor Chen, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It's great talking with you. One key question
Yeah.
that we didn't talk about in the interview.
Yeah.
Who's going to win the NBA championship?
I have no idea, but I hope still the American people.
And then who's your favorite NBA player?
Yeah, I actually like Jordan.
Yeah, one of the best. Your favorite team member?
Yeah, Jordan. Yeah.
Professor Chen, thank you.
Thank you so much.
See you again.